Samsung is doing something it has never done before. In 2026, they're launching two completely different foldable phones at the same time. Not the fold and the flip that we are all used to, but two actual book style foldables, same family, same launch window, but different shapes. The Galaxy Z Fold 8, which everyone knows and is familiar with that lineup, and the Z Fold Wide, a phone Samsung built specifically to answer a competitor that hasn't even shipped yet. Today, we're breaking down every different design, display, cameras, software, and price, and telling you exactly which one is actually for you. I'm Slim Hoodie. Let's get into it. First is the Galaxy Z Fold 8, and this is the classic phone in this picture that everyone is used to when it comes to Samsung foldables. And as you can see here, folded, it's tall and narrow, 158.4 millimeters tall and 72.8 millimeters wide. And it's about the dimensions of a typical smartphone, almost same as the one from last year, which I had. Comfortable to hold one-handed, and it was super slim. That's one of the things that I loved about last year's model when I tried it out and actually had it for about a month. I liked the slim size of it, and when it was closed, the front-facing screen was almost the same size as a normal phone, so I didn't lose any screen real estate really with the when it was closed. And then when you opened it, it was about 8 inches with the inner display, tall like a book open in portrait, and it was great for scrolling, reading long articles, apps designed for vertical layouts. So the classic foldable experience is coming with the classic Z Fold 8. Now, this is the different one, the Galaxy Z Fold Wide. This is the one that surprises most people when they see it, because now when it's folded, it's short and wide. And the dimensions, courtesy again, there are a couple of leaks out there. This one is courtesy of Android Headline for the photo with on leaks. The size and dimensions is 123.9 millimeters tall and 82.2 millimeters wide. It is shorter than your current phone, but it's wider than your current phone. And it looks like a passport. It does not look like a typical phone, whether it's closed or open. So open is 7.6 inches inner display, but the key is the shape. It's a 4:3 aspect ratio. Wide like a landscape tablet, like an iPad mini that folds in half. Same aspect ratio as an iPad, same proportions Apple is using for the iPhone Fold. And here's the thing that gets me, it's the Z Fold Wide has a smaller screen corner to corner, 7.6 inches versus 8 inches on the standard Fold 8. But because of the aspect ratio, the usable workspace for things like split screen, typing, and video feels bigger. It's wider and width is what matters for productivity. And this isn't a small difference because again, just handling smaller iPads or iPad minis for taking in content or reading, going through videos, we will need to test it out. But based on my testing of the iPad mini or just playing around with those different devices with that aspect ratio, it looks like it could be way better for as far as usability. So that's why I can't really wait to check it out to actually see how it feels on hand when we're actually trying it out. Now the question is, why is Samsung building the Wide? And Ice Universe, I was the first person where I saw the report from where Samsung was preparing the Wide Fold because of the iPhone Fold that's coming out later. And it's Apple's iPhone Fold is actually coming in September of this year, and it has a 4:3 aspect ratio, short, wide, iPad mini like. So if Samsung launched only the standard Z Fold 8 with its tall, narrow shape, Apple would have owned the wide foldable format by default. Of course, there's the Huawei one that came out, but that one is not in the US. Every review you would have said Apple's design is more natural for tablets and productivity. So Samsung didn't let that happen. They built a phone with the same format, wider, shorter 4:3 ratio, and they're launching it before Apple ships a single unit. Whether that strategy works, we'll find out in the fall, but the intent is clear. Now, with the regular Z Fold 8, the cover screen matches almost a regular phone screen, right? 6.5 inches, it's tall and narrow. Again, the thing that I like with the Z Fold 7 from last year is that the Fold series used to be super narrow, which is why I never really wanted to get them because the front cover screen, which is what I usually use the most, was too small for me. But with the Z Fold 7, they made it a little bit wider where it was matching closer to the screen real estate of regular phones. So you could text and do all that normally. So with the Z Fold 8, the same is coming with that, where it's a real phone screen where you can browse, navigate, check notifications without having to open up the phone. So now when we switch to the Z Fold wide cover screen, which is 5.5 inches, it's short and wide, and I'm used to holding a regular phone. This is a case, my iPhone case. This one is a regular phone, right? That's the Pro Max. But even if it's something that's the regular Pro, regular size phone, it'll be a little bit shorter, but it's still that narrow design. But now when it's something that's super short, but it's wider, I'm wondering how is it going to feel in the hand holding? Is it going to be comfortable to hold? So that's what I'm really curious to actually get my hands on it to see how it feels because it's going to be an adjustment getting used to the wide feel. It's going to be different. So I'm wondering how apps, videos, even using split screen on the cover, or if we'll be able to use split apps on the cover. I'm curious to see if they're going to allow that. And with the wide fold, and that's just talking about the cover screen, how is it going to be with the one-handed usability? Will I be able to text on one hand? Or is it going to feel less natural? If you primarily use your phone closed for most of the day, it will take some getting used to. But again, once we get our hands on it, then we'll see if it feels natural or if it's something that we won't even notice. But again, if you're someone that usually opens up the phone to use it, it probably won't make a difference at all. Now, this is where the fun begins when you actually open up the screen and the displays. With the Z Fold 8, you have the 8-inch portrait display, more total screen area by the numbers, better for vertical content, like you have the narrow screens with the apps side by side and columns. But with the Z Fold wide, it's more so landscape. Even with this iPad, it's much bigger, of course, but this will be more the field of the wide fold. So when you have the split screens with the apps side by side, it's going to look different. And I'm assuming, as far as readability, playing even games, I feel like I'm going to like the wide fold way better just by content. Even look at it by the renders, it just feels a little bit more natural using something on the open screen from a wide fold perspective compared to columns. Although it did feel nice, I loved the Z Fold 7 when I had it, but I feel like it's going to feel more natural with the wide fold. And both displays are expected to feature crease improvements where you will barely see the creases. And Samsung showed that earlier this year in their event where they were displaying some of the new technologies in CES 2026. This is courtesy of Android headlines for the cameras. The Z Fold 8 will have the 200 megapixel main sensor, the same unit in the Galaxy S26, and 50 megapixels ultra wide. And that's a massive jump from the 12 megapixels on the Z Fold 7, and also 12 megapixel 3 times telephoto zoom. And looking at the Z Fold 8 numbers, this is by far the most complete camera system Samsung has ever put on a foldable. The ultra wide upgrade alone is significant. Ultra wide shots on foldable have historically been the weak link, but not anymore, which is a good upgrade. However, if you're looking at the Galaxy Z Fold Wide 8, it's 200 megapixels for the main and 12 megapixel ultra wide, no telephoto. So two cameras, as you can see here, instead of three. The telephoto is gone. The ultra wide is the older 12 megapixel unit instead of the upgraded 50 megapixel version. This is the trade-off Samsung made to keep the wide thinner and to hit a lower price point. Whether it matters to you depends entirely on how much you zoom and how you use your cameras. If you use your cameras primarily for main lens photos and the wide shots, you probably won't feel the missing telephoto in daily use. If you travel and shoot at events and you take a lot of pictures, you will feel it every single time. So for the cameras, the Z Fold 8 clearly wins this one. For the specs, both phones share the same chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, and both have 12 to 16 gigs of RAM, and both will run on One UI 9 on Android 17 out the box, so no differences there. So performance-wise, it looks like it's going to be the same for both. The difference comes in when it comes to the battery, because the Z Fold 8 will have a 5,000 milliamp battery, whereas the Galaxy Z Fold Wide, it's only 4,800 based on the leaks. So in practice and daily use, the Z Fold 8 should have more long-lasting battery life compared to the Z Fold Wide 8, but again, you'll have to have real world experience and testing it out to actually see if it makes a big difference. But so far now, Z Fold 8 has the better battery. So based on all the information in the leaks, get the Z Fold 8 if you're looking to upgrade from last year's, and because of the cameras, because the big difference is the cameras. Now, if you're not a big camera user, then I wouldn't even upgrade based on what I'm seeing from last year's version because it looked like it's the same except for that camera upgrade. But get the Z Fold Wide if you really use your phone as a productivity device where you're documenting, you need documents, you need to email, split screen, landscape display changes what's possible on the foldable, at least from what I'm seeing so far. Two apps side by side, both readable, both usable. That's a wise whole reason for existing, in my opinion. And if you're curious about the iPhone Fold, the size, but you're on Android, this is a perfect device for you. And I think that's why it was smart for Samsung to do it because you don't want to start losing customers over the iPhone because they came out with another size foldable that could possibly feel better in the hand. So they made one where it's like, nah, if we want to try the foldable and I'm already on Android, I have another option, which is Android's whole selling point, which is one of the reasons why I love Android is because you have different options to try out from. You're not stuck to the same type of devices. But the real take too, when I look at both of these devices, and they're extremely expensive. So that's something to think about. But again, if you're looking at videos for the foldables and you're into phones, this is the year to try one of these out. To me, the Z Fold 8 wins on cameras, battery, and overall total inner screen area because it's 8 inches, but the Z Fold Wide wins on landscape productivity, the split screen experience that foldables were always supposed to deliver. So neither one is wrong, they're just for different people. But one question I do have is which shape would you pick? Tall or narrow or short and wide? Drop it in the comments below. I'll read every single comment. And if you want to see how both of these stack up against the iPhone Fold coming in September, that breakdown is coming up when the phone comes out. I will be reviewing all those phones. So subscribe if you want to check out more of that type of content. I'm Sim Hoodie. Peace.